Flight boss, bitch, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel URIEL, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about knowing what you want out of a relationship if you're not quite sure. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, we kind of already focused on what we want, but knowing ourselves a little better, we'll know what we clearly want. And a lot of times, based upon society and the people we are around, based upon our location and things of that nature, we don't know what we truly want. You know what I'm saying? So the judgment get very cloudy at that time, and a lot of times. And you will be forced into thinking that you want this based upon what a person may have, or a certain characteristic that a person may have based upon how they're going along with certain illusions. And certain illusions, aka lights, information, may be absorbed in a way that seem more acceptable to the world. So you'll find yourself compromising within a relationship just based upon being stable, or just needing that person based upon their status or what they're known for and things of that nature. So that's going by. I'm really going behind the scenes. Let me bring to the surface what I'm actually talking about. Now, there's two ways how to go about this. You got the way you express your love and what others may see, and then you have how you want to receive love, or what you expect from another when it comes into a relationship. So first, we're going to break down your love. Now, you already know this is dealing with Venus a lot of times. It could deal with the correlations of other things, like the sun sometimes the moon, because the sun is like your actions. So if you, and what you're consciously aware of. So if you're into something, eventually you're going to develop a love for it, a passion for it. And your moon is things that you vibe with and you can connect with. But in general, Venus represents, the love energy itself. So when it comes to Venus, knowing what sign your Venus is in is going to let you know what world that energy is in, aka Venus. So if Venus represents love, appreciation, value, and how you relate to others and the things you're willing to compromise with, then the sign that is in, which is the element, is going to, and the modality is going to represent what kind of force field, what kind of weather it's going through, what kind of environment it's in. So if it's in fire, you're going to love and appreciate and value ways of seeing and feeling about the world. If it's in water, you're going to love and appreciate the feelings and the emotions and the behind the scenes realm and the vibe about the world. If it's in air, then you're going to love and appreciate and value ways, thought forms, and communication and information in ways, shapes, and forms. You see what I'm saying? And communicating and being social. If it's in earth, then you're going to love and appreciate practicality, things that make sense, things that can be concrete, foundation, So when we talk about, now that's how it'll be. As far as the modality, if it's in cardinal, then you are the person who like to initiate and create the circumstance around love, appreciation, value, relativeness, and compromising. You may feel like you're in charge of that a lot of times. When it's in a fixed modality, it'll be in a situation where that you want to get stable, you want to get situated, you want to you could be very loyal when it comes to love, appreciation, value, relativeness. And when we say love and value and appreciation, that can relate to a person, place, or a thing. You see what I'm saying? So in a fixed modality, it'll be in a situation where it's looking to be stable, it's looking to be fixed, it's not looking to run around from here and there and there and there. You see what I'm saying? Now, when it's in a mutable modality, then the Venus is trying to be relatable with the way it love and appreciate and value. It want to see other people's point of views, other people's awareness of it. You see what I'm saying? Because there's like a dynamic when it comes to cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Like cardinal are the trailblazers. They like to initiate and create, so they come up with new things. So a lot of times they could be blindsided. They could play the stubborn role and a relative role, but a lot of times they could just play the far out to themselves role, and others have to see things work in order to get on their behalf and support them. Fixed signs is the sign of fixatedness and stableness. So it's not the simple fact that they could be right or wrong. It's just staying fixated on one idea and seeing it through. You see what I'm saying? How you going to see if something work or not if you're not following it all the way through? So this is what the fixed signs represent. Now the mutable signs, they all represent the broad perspective of something. You see what I'm saying? So you know, respect to their element, they're gonna represent the broad perspective of it. You see what I'm saying? For an example, fire. And if we're talking about mutable, that'd be Sagittarius. So they're mutable and adaptive and being able to adapt to their own and other people's ways of seeing and feeling. You see what I'm saying? So they come to the broad perspective of seeing and feeling because they're relating to everyone else's ways of seeing and feeling about things, and then they come to a broad conclusion on how you're supposed to see and feel about things in general. Same way with Virgo. Virgo is thinking and being practical, which is making sense. So they see how everybody else think, how everybody else make things work, and how other people get things come to practical conclusions in their life, and how they can obsess everything. And you know, that involves into looking at details, criticizing yourself and others, and things of that nature, to see how things work until you can get it perfect in your mind and got this picture, got this broad conclusion picture of how everybody's supposed to get things working and think and analyze and come to practical conclusions. So that's what make Virgos even helpers also. That, see, it's like it's an energy that higher beings feed off of. You see what I'm saying? Same way you can eat in the 3 realms. If you go on my video, you can eat in the spirit realm, you eat in the soul realm, and then you eat in the physical realm. All these is 3 different bodies. So when we even talking about the modalities and things of that nature, it plays out in the same way. You know what I'm saying? So when you got certain concepts as beings and things of that nature, they feed off certain concepts, and certain elements gets filtered through people as people play out these concepts. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Virgos pick up the nervous or the worry energy faster than the other 2 earth signs, because of the energy of the modality and the energy of the element. And when you bring mutable and earth together, that becomes, you see what I'm saying? It's fast, it's movable, and earth is not supposed to be movable. So Virgos always have this sense of something being torn down, of something not being right. It's almost like a sense of being in a building and the floor is not glued in right. So if you're on the top floor but the building feels shaky, that's kind of how Virgos feel. Like, should we be on this floor or not? Let's make sure this floor is, you see what I'm saying? Things of that nature. So yeah, let me get some drink. But yeah, for the most part, that's how you look at the modalities and things of that nature. So when we want to talk about love and with Venus, this would be how you play it out. Now, the sign and the element that it's in. Now, when we talk about the houses is going to be the area of life you play these attributes out the most. So this is basically building up how you express your love. So for an example, if you have Venus in the 1st house, you may have a love and appreciation and value for yourself. Now, Venus don't like to be in the 1st house, so a lot of times Venus play out as a circumstance, it'll play out negative. It'll be looked at as selfish, or you overlove yourself. You may look in the mirror all the time with Venus in the 1st house. And you know, with Venus in the 1st house, a lot of times you may be received well from the opposite sex, even the same sex. You know what I'm saying? You may be received real well, but through all these experiences in your life, you start to develop energies of taking advantage over others and only loving and appreciating and value your own self and your personality and your personal issues and affairs. You know, Venus don't like to be in the 1st or the 8th house. Now, Venus in the 2nd house, it loves to be here. So you may love and appreciate and value the people, places, and things in your life that you value, what you have to offer to the world, whether that's a hidden internal gift, talent, trait that you need to bring out, or something externally. Also, and this you're gonna love planting seeds and love building on your self-esteem and things of that nature. So you know, Venus does well in the 2nd house, and you're able to appreciate and value your own structure, your own physical self, and learn. And once you get that love, you know what I'm saying, you can receive love. Not like the love, like loving yourself like the 1st house, where you're pushing personally, you think you more than what you are, you think you all that. The 2nd house, you have an inner love for yourself, something that people don't see. Remember, the 2nd house is an earth house, and Virgo to be exact. So planets in that house is not readily to express the internal realm. You know what I'm saying? It's the left brain, but it's the yin part of the left brain. So it'll go within with the external thoughts. So it's just not ready to be expressing to everyone how they think things truly are and things of that nature. They want to love, and they have enough time on their own to love and appreciate and value what they got going on. and they don't need no outside influences to help them do that, the same way Venus in the first house would do. You know what I'm saying? Venus in the third house, you know, it depends on, it brings support, but it brings loves and appreciation and value and compromising with your surroundings and what you're familiar with. And you know, you could go down the houses with that, but this is constructing your love. Now, this is not necessarily what I want to actually talk about, because a lot of you people already know about this. So, but what I want to talk about is actually what you will see, what you want out of others. You know what I'm saying? And if you are in a relationship with someone and you know their birth chart, say you're going through certain circumstances and situations in your life with them, man. You know, it's not a pretty sight, and a lot of times you find yourself asking yourself like, dang, what do this person want from me? Or every time I do this don't seem right, or this, that, and the third. Now, if you know their houses, a way you could kind of pinpoint what do you want, I mean, what this person want from you a lot of times is knowing the house lord of their 7th house. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of other things too. You can kind of match up and see where your planets fall in their houses, but for the most part, knowing where their 7th house lord is at, if you have their chart, because you know this is true, because you know what you want out of a person by, if you look at your own chart. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to realize this, and when I looked at my chart, I'm like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? So it's almost like the 7th house lord, wherever the planet is at, that's the, whatever house is in, that's the area of life that you're gonna expect to see from whatever relationship you're in. Now, this brings me back to the beginning of the video. Like I said, you guys could be into the same thing based upon you having a sextile or opposition with you guys, Venus or Venus and Moon or things of that nature, and you guys could be into the same thing. But a lot of times relationships ain't about that. You could be in a relationship with someone that you hate that they into the same thing you into. You want to have your peace in the situation, you want them to have their peace in the situation. You know what I'm saying? So it's all kind of dynamics when it comes to relationships. But now, knowing the 7th house lord, where the planet is, what house that the planet is in. Now, for an example, you could know, for an example, yourself. Now, say you got the 7th house lord in the 7th house lord in the 4th house. Now, this is a square, so it's going to be a learning process, something you have to learn how to apply. But for the most part, with the 7th house lord in the 4th house, it becomes a situation where you expect out of your relationship comfortability, a foundation, privacy. You see what I'm saying? A person who may be private, or a situation that can be private. You know what I'm saying? Something that's when domestic issues happen, that's good or bad, something that can be not broadcasted and put all out there, you know, in social media and things of that nature. Or if something is going to be put on social media, something that's dealing with comfortability, or yeah, we're comfortable together and nothing is going to budge us and things of that nature. See, that's what you're going to want to see out of a person. So if you draw in a person in your life that's just based upon your planet alignment, like y'all may share certain interests, right? But this person is not showing the characteristic traits of 4th house qualities, then in some way, shape, or form, this relationship will not go to its full extent. You see what I'm saying? Now, and if it do, you find yourself being an everyday struggle, an everyday fight. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep it on that level, based upon you just knowing that person and being around them so long and don't want to leave them. You see what I'm saying? 7th house lord, 7th house lord in the 10th house is going to play completely opposite than the 4th house. But this will be another square, so it's something you have to learn how to apply, right? So you could get into a relationship all you want, but in some way, shape, or form, if the relationship you got into, if it's not applying energetic forces of being seen, being known, or having a certain status to it, a certain prestige, or it could be looked at as something like, for an example, you know, when you have the 7th house lord in the 10th house, a lot of times the relationship, what you want to see out of a person, you want to see a person that has a certain status. You don't want to see no lackey. You want to see a person that has a certain status, certain finesse about themselves, a person who has goals, a person that want to be seen and known for something, and not just be seen and known as anything. This is your regular average person and things of that nature. A person who held themselves to a high esteem in certain ways, shape, or forms. So this what you would look for in a person. You would look for confidence in a person and things of that nature. So regardless of of what relationship you got into and how you got into it. Once a person is not showing these qualities in some way, shape, or form, you're going to try to force this out of them, or something is going to crumble, or you're going to find yourself being in that everyday fight to keep things going on. So, you know, you're going to have good days, but, you know, you're going to have days that you have to keep things together if they're not showing these qualities and attributes. You see what I'm saying? And that's when you have 7th house Lord in the 10th house. So if you do this and vice versa. So if you're in a situation where you don't quite know what a person wants out of you, or you want to be there for a person in a way that you may not have been previously, then you do the same method for them if you know their chart. Then you could go in their houses and you could go see where their house Lord is at, and you could be like, oh, okay, let me start showing more of these attributes. You know what I'm saying? And a person may not, you might just start doing shit. You might have been doing shit to get on a person's good side that may have been getting on their bad side. You going out your way and nothing seems right. Cause in that person chart, they sent back like, I don't fuck with this shit. Why is this person doing this? I don't like this kind of energy, right? And then once you understand this, it might be some shit that you can do that you ain't even, that's way far left that you ain't even think about. You know what I'm saying? And that be the charm right there. You see what I'm saying? For an example, say you had the 7th house Lord in the 5th house. 7th house Lord in the 5th house. Now, with the 7th house Lord in the 5th house, what you want to see out of a partner is an expressive person, a person that an entertaining kind of person, or a person that's into all forms of entertainment. Like I have this placement, you know what I'm saying? A person who can understand forms of art, forms of creativity, forms of entertainment, and things of that nature. A person who likes to creatively express themselves. People who are into these type of things and that nature. This is what you kind of want to what you want to see out of a person. You don't want to see no dryness, staleness, person that's kind of you don't quite know what they're up to. You like a person who know how to express themselves and creatively express themselves and express what they are entertained by, and how they have fun and how they enjoy themselves and things of that nature. So, you know, and this is a sextile placement, so it creates opportunities for that to happen. So you may be in an area or a location that both of these energies is taking place, which is the 7th house is an air house and the 5th house is a fire house. So you may deal with a place that's social and dealing with communication, and that may be opportunities to mix and mango with dancing and fire or creative, or people creatively expressing themselves. And when you bring those two together, that's like a party environment or something like that. So that's what the 7th and the 5th house be creating when they got the sextile with each other. You see what I'm saying? The 7th and the 9th house create sextiles and opportunities more of people relating their experiences with each other and things of that nature. But you know, yeah, even if you had the 7th house Lord in the 9th house, it'd play out like that. It'll play out in situations where what you see in a partner, you need to see some kind of wisdom, a person who is experienced, a person that has some type of wisdom, some type of knowledge, even if it's dealing with the basic education level and things of that nature, and see a person's philosophy and their religion and things of that nature, or what they're spiritually connected to. And you have to be connected to that. Like, you have to see this in a person. A person have to be spiritually lifted or things of that nature if you have the 7th house Lord in the 9th house. This is what you have to see in your partner. You know what I'm saying? Same way in the 11th house. If you have the 7th house Lord in the 11th house, what you need to see in your partner is a person who know how to conduct themselves in public places. So when you may feel weak or vulnerable and things of that nature, you can let this person take charge. You may want to see a person who know how to communicate well with strangers and associates and even their close ones. And a person who's into things like technology and science and new things and unique and original type circumstances and situation. And an individual, a true individual, whether they're amongst people that they know or don't know. This is what you need to see in a person. This is if you have the 7th house Lord in the 11th house, especially if you're a female, a person what you want out of a person, and if you got the 7th house Lord in the 11th house, you want to see your man be, y'all don't care if y'all out in public or whatever, he seem unapproachable, but he know how to communicate and be approachable, but in a unique way, to the point that you can feel comfortable around your man because you know that he's not trying to look at everybody else, because y'all have a unique connection between each other. You see what I'm saying? That's what you want to see. And then vice versa. If you a dude, let's say you a dude and you got the 7th house Lord in the 12th house. See, the 12th house, what you want to see out of a girl who have an imagination, who have dreams, you know what I'm saying, who always like to express her fantasy, her artistic side, her subconscious realm. She may be subconsciously goofy at times, but you know how to connect with her on a collective conscious level. Like you vibe with her, you know what I'm saying? When you're around, you can dive into, you like to see her dive into her imagination and things of that nature, and not be too serious, not be too worrisome, and you need to do this, you need to do that. She know how to relax, and this is what you need to see out of her. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't, and if you're in a relationship where you're not seeing that out of your partner, with the 7th house Lord being in the 12th house, is going to fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? So this video is really about how you can see what you need to do in other people's lives. But if you're a person who may not know this specific concept, how, like, you may be a person who may not specifically know what you want out of your partner, or out of your relationships, out of your friendships or partnerships and things of that nature. And this is one way that you can kind of buckle down and break it down and kind of look at every prospect of it. For an example, 7th house Lord in the 1st house, you know what I'm saying? Even though this is opposite house, but what you need to see out of your partner, y'all create balance within each other off the back. So y'all may off the back go through a lot of power struggles and tug of war matches also, but this also becomes a give and receive match. But what you need to see in your partner is a person being their personal self, a person that's not too gullible, too easily astray off in other areas. Like if you're a male and you have the 7th house Lord in the 1st house, you don't want a female who's always listening to her friends, always listening to people, her personal affairs, aka the personal people, places, and things in her life. So she listening to her personal, her close personal friends before you and things of that nature. And you can never, y'all relationship is 3 or 4 people in y'all relationship before you. You would hate to see that if you have the 7th house Lord in the 1st house. You're gonna need to see some stableness and relate, and some personality with and the ability to combine both of you guys' personal issues together, and not be letting outside influences come in between you guys' personal issues and affairs. But you know, these are just examples that you could dive into a little more and more. But yeah, this is how you know what you want out of a relationship, or how to know what someone else wants from you within a relationship. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.